Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. Heidi, is it Huda Ava or Huda Morhan? I think it's got to be Ava, right? Feels so early here. It's really not that early. Good to see you all this morning. Happy International Rug Hooking Day. I had to log on and show my face, but I have to tell you, I am so sick today that I will be on for a very short time before I have to get back into the bed. I barely made it dropping the kids off at school and I am ready to go back. But I'm going to stay on for a little while. I tried showering. I thought that might help. Nope. I have to rest a little bit, but I'm going to be on for a little while to say good morning to you and to start our day together because this is our day. This is our family. We've got to get together for a little while and then I will collapse. But I wanted to let you know because I'm not going to do a marathon show today. I was never intending to do a marathon show, but I was hoping to be on for an hour or two. I don't think I'm going to make it that long. So we put into place something I think even nicer for you that is still on brand. Our buddy Kirsten, also of Ribbon Candy Hooking, immediately after I log off, is hosting a Zoom. And the Zoom will hold 100 people. So that's a lot of people to be Zoomed in. So she will be hosting that Zoom. She's got the Oscar Wilde Penguin. If you want to work on that, you don't have to work on the free pattern. There's a lot of free patterns that are going around today for International Rug Cooking Day. Oscar Wilde's Penguin is just one of them. Have to say I had an awful night. I had an awful night last night. I had an awful sleeping night, not sleeping, and I'm having an awful morning. So I have not had time to print and transfer Oscar Wilde onto my backing. So I'm not working on that, but I do want to talk to you about the project I am working on. And I would encourage you, if you're able to and you want to look for that free pattern. And the link to that is might be in the video. Certainly in this video that you're watching now is the link to Kirsten immediately following this. And I know I've posted a past link. It's definitely in our Facebook group, which is Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club, to the free pattern on ribbon candy hooking of, let me show it to you really quick. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick, of Oscar Wilde Penguin. We talked about this the other day during the last live show. Here it is. And all of the ways, this is like the draft version, so your version that you download online is even better. But he looks like that. And we talked the other day about the possibility of taking away the words or changing the pattern on the stomach or doing something different in the background. So many things that one might do. Let me first say good morning to everybody before my thoughts split into 1,000 directions. International Rug Cooking Day from Belgium, right, Heidi? How cool is that you're celebrating International Rug Cooking Day in Belgium? Belgium, I love that. Ah. I think it was Rug Cooking Magazine that started International Rug Cooking Day, isn't it? I think so. I don't know how many years ago, but it's been going on for a while. And I do know today, I have been horribly busy, and hence the breaking down of the health. I've been horribly busy for the last couple of weeks, and I haven't been as tuned in as I would normally be with friends and colleagues and things like that. But I do know for sure, as I've said, that Haley, if you are a member of Tigger, Haley is hosting her pattern and a Zoom for Tigger members between 11 and 1. And I know up in Canada in the same time zone, Robin Whitford is hosting, and also I think Gavin is hosting. Winnie Glavin is hosting. I think they're hosting in Canada on the East Coast. So there should be different hosts at different times of the day going right across the country. There's quite a few of us who are in rug cooking who are hosting something today. So if your intention is to just sit all day and hook, it's going to be a good day for that. I think there's lots of things that you can jump into. Catherine, great to see you. Happy International Rug Cooking Day from ice cold, freezing cold Missouri. Is it cold? Is it cold there? Sorry, it sounds awful. It's cold here. I don't think it's anywhere near as cold as what you've got. But yeah, it's cold. Like I went down the driveway sideways. I told you that, right? I went down the driveway sideways the other day. We thought it was clear, but it was. I mean, it looked clear, but it is so cold and icy. It's definitely freezing here too. But I know most of you above me and on the side of me are suffering even more with really extreme cold. So be careful about that. Middag. Oh, I didn't even know that was a word, like right in the middle there. Oh, how weird is that? See, I need to practice my Dutch, obviously. And I learned a new word. That's exciting. Oh, DMS, hi from Illinois. Good to see you. Good morning. I know it's early this morning too. Oh, Deana. Oh, I will. I will. I'll just stay on for a little while and say hi. Yeah. So some of the things that are going on that I want to tell you about, and because I don't feel like cooking right now, I don't feel like getting my frame out and all that stuff. I was working yesterday, and I'll probably post it later. Well, the past 2 days, I was doing a video of making the wooden tree with silk neckties instead of wool. And I think I'm not going to show it to you yet. I have a plastic bag wrapped around it. So all of the neckties kind of sit nicely, and then I'm going to trim them. But it's the equivalent of this tree that has been in ribbon candy hooking. This is one I made years ago, and that is there for sale, and it's there as a kit. I have all the trees in stock, small and large, and I do have the wool in stock. But I thought I would try a different variation using silk neckties, and I was doing that. In fact, I'm finding the little scraps to the silk neckties all over the house. It's like confetti, like ticker tape. So I was working on that, and I did a video over the course of 2 days, and I'll do the conclusion of the video today after I finish trimming it. I ended up putting it, because I haven't done this project for years. I want to be able to offer this with the silk neckties alternately. So people could, grab the neckties, put the tree together, and you're going to have a ton of extra ties in there to be able to maybe do some dyeing or something like that. So I want to put that product out hopefully later today or tomorrow. But I need to trim all the little edges on the tree. And what I did, because the tree gets a haircut when you get to the end of tying all the ties on it, whether it's the wool version or the silk version, and you need to put it in the stand and just start trimming it with the scissors, and it's pretty final when you do that. Of course, you could always untie the strip, retie it if you make a really bad mistake, but you know what it reminded me of. I was having flashbacks to Barbie Hair Station with the trimming of the Barbie hair, and then going, too much, and then trimming the bangs and trimming around the face. It's one of those. So you have to be very careful when you do your trimming. Start at the bottom, go slow, be thoughtful. Oh, Sandy, good to see you. Hello, and happy happy International Rug Cooking Day in Pennsylvania. Oh, Suze, that it's bound to happen. I've been running myself ragged, and I'm getting older, and I just cannot keep going at the same pace that I have been lately. With the festival coming up on Saturday, I mean, I'm like panicking. I'm panicking. Things need to get done. I need to show up there at some point today. It's absolutely bonkers. There's no backup for me. I have to be there. Haunts, happy International Rug Cooking Day from very chilly Las Vegas. Happy International Rug Cooking Day. Linda says, thanks for starting off the year's International Rug. I will. I just want to show you one thing. So I've been working on that. Look for that video later, because I've been working on that 2 days, and I'll do the conclusion today. And then you'll be able to look at it and see. You could do something similar. Again, the trees are in stock. You can also order just the tree without anything. If you want to tie on like your own t-shirt material or sweater material would be great, actually. Sweater material, why didn't I think of that? Would be really good because it's really thick. The silk ties are very good though, because they hang like silky and loose, so it gets a good shape. The wool has such a good memory. All the strips want to go like this when you tie them on, like just stick out like this. But the silk wants to fall back down, and it has a very nice sleek look to it. You know what doesn't have a sleek look to it is the project that I have been working on for. I'm hardly doing any hooking right now because it's just too busy right now. But I am into the rose book, right? I'm well into the rose book, so that I push that back until the new year. But I'm still working on it. Like every chance I get, I'm in there creating new text, finalizing chapters. My husband is laying the book out. It's all coming together. Oh, thanks, Sandy. It's all coming together really well, I think. It was coming together so well that I did a Deana, and I thought, since I have no time, and everything is crazy, and I'm already pushed to the limit, why don't I create a new pattern for that book? And why don't I start working on that in my free time? So, you know what? I will get it done. I will get it done because, of course, we're getting into the holidays. And as soon as I'm finished with this festival on Saturday, and by the way, if you're local, I am doing the tree for free at the festival on Saturday at the UU Church at 50 Bloomfield Ave in Hartford, Connecticut. That tree is free to take. You could do more than one. The ties are free to take, right? This is one of the ways that I donate and volunteer there, is to offer stuff like this. Once in a while, I did the rug hooking workshop, and now I'm doing this. So if you are local, come and get it. Come and do it with me. It'll come out really, really well. There's other people doing other fiber arts, like my friend Frederique is doing this ornament called the Eye of God. It's more of like an Eastern European thing, but it's you put two popsicle sticks together like this, so it's like a square, right? Not like a cross, but like a square. And then you take your leftover yarn and you go across it like all four like this, right? Like on diagonals. And you're basically weaving all of these colors. You have to kind of tuck, or I would glue like the first piece or tuck it under. But it makes this beautiful, let me show you what it looks like. It makes this beautiful ornament that you just add a piece of string to. Can't find a piece of paper, so I'm going to use this. Looks like this in the end. Popsicle sticks. Here, let me show you. And I got a little tiny drill bit to, right, that's what the popsicle, and I got colored popsicle sticks, every color, like every color. They have like rainbow colors, they have vintage colors, and then you take your yarn, and I'm going to show you, you just go around like this, right? And again and again and again until you have this little weaving that looks like that. It looks so, so pretty. So the cross part of it is gone, right? And it's just this fabric square of yarn with all of these different, what a beautiful ornament. It's cheap, it's lightweight, you use your leftover stuff, right? So that's another one of the crafts that's happening. And then Diane Cadrain, whose work I've shown on this show, she is a quilter. She's been in Magpie Times too. She did a big article in Magpie Times sometime last year. She's a quite famous artist around here, and she's offering a free workshop in needle felting. That is like her, she does a lot of quilting, but she is like famous for being a needle felter. Really elaborate. She's doing needle felted ornaments. So in that one fiber room at the festival, there's 3 fiber artists. Of course, I'm calling myself an artist. I'm just like fooling around with silk neckties. But there's 3 of us in there in that one room doing that. And then in other rooms, there's the Enchanted Evergreen room. Yes, I made all of these names. I'm in the Festive Fiber room. There's the Enchanted Evergreen room, and I think I've got 2 people in there. One of them is an all-day wreath maker, just making a wreath. All of the workshops are free. Everybody's volunteering stuff and volunteering their time, which is the spirit, right? Let's hear it. And who else? Oh, this sweet guy Deana is in there in that room. He loves like pagan crafts and culture, so he's doing this straw ornament, like made from straw, kind of weaving again. So those are both kind of outdoor crafts. So that's why they're in the evergreen room and then the fiber room. And then there's like gingerbread house making is happening in the library. Somebody is doing hundreds, Frosty's Cookie Station, hundreds of frosted cookies, and that's for kids and adults. And then there's there's some other rooms in there, and then there's the chapel all day where people are performing. I'm one of those people too, so I better get well soon. And I think there's 5 sort of acts playing in there, which is nice because people can just sit and crash out all day and just listen to different music. There's this young girl who is phenomenal. She's like a coffee house guitar player. She's Dana's granddaughter, and she's starting off the music in the first hour around noon kind of thing. But I created this room that I'm very proud of. I'm just chatting, right? Just chatting for a minute. It's called the Three Kings Room because I realized there was a lot of people in the congregation who were Spanish speaking, and a lot more people who would like to come who are Spanish speaking. And we do have some Spanish speakers. I'm not one of them. So I created this room called the Three Kings Room because their tradition is a little different than like the North American or European tradition as far as like Santa and leaving gifts. They decorate a shoebox, right? They decorate a shoebox and they fill it with grass for the camels, just like we would put out cookies for Santa, right? Or your stockings for gifts. They put out this shoebox and they get gifts in it. So we have a room that is like a bilingual room, people speaking in both English and Spanish, and doing a lot of storytelling that has Latin American roots instead of European roots. And yeah, it should be a really nice room. So there's a totally different craft happening in there. And then all of that storytelling and music that is more like Latin American, South American Christmas holiday music, right? So I'm very happy and proud of that room. And I'm really hoping in future years we can put, because there's people of all different sort of denominations within this one congregation. And I wanted to have like a dreidel table, but nobody volunteered to do it, right? So, you know, I wasn't able to put up anything really for Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, but I'm hoping that next year is the year. So that has been keeping me crazy busy, and I'm sorry because it has taken time away from us. But I promise you, as soon as that's over, I will be back full blast with excitement and with projects. And I am working here and there on this new rose, right? Because this book will come out early in the new year. If it kills me, it's coming out. So this rose is called, and this pattern will come out with the rose book. This rose is called the Fashion Rose, not to be confused with the Vogue Rose, because the Vogue Rose came out with the original wave of roses, was one of the roses that was the inspiration for the rose book. And you might already be aware of the Vogue Rose. But I found this other rose called the Fashion Rose that had, I stumbled upon this little story that I could not resist. It's a true story that's set in like the middle 1950s. And again, true story. So I'm never going to remember the names, particularly because I'm not feeling well. But what happened was out in the outskirts of New York, right, like in New York State, there was this rose farm, right, whatever they say, rose, whatever. They grew roses. And they were experimenting, with developing new roses. All these rose sort of breeders are always developing with, working with new roses and crossing roses. So, the two parents of the rose, and then you get this incredible child hybrid, right? So the hybridizing of roses has been a huge thing for a long time, right? It's not just that this rose came up. What is it? We haven't seen that one yet. What should we call it? People are actually creating new roses and have been for over 100 years. So this is one of those places in the 1950s that was creating these roses. And what happened was, of course, a very wealthy family that owns this rose hybridization empire, right, outside of New York City. And one of their friends, whose occupation happened to be being a dresser at, God, was it Saks? It wasn't Macy's. I don't think it was Saks. I don't think it was Nordstrom. It was one of those old department stores. Anyway, it was a famous one that you would go, oh, obviously. And so he was a window dresser, right? Dear to my heart, these window dressing stories of yore. He was a window dresser, and he went to visit his friends at this rose farm, and they had just created this rose that they didn't have a name for yet, that was like this bright, corally pinky orange, hard to describe, not salmon, right? Almost like a neon coral, pinky coral, like neon, if you can picture that, right? There are Madeline Tosh does yarn that's this kind of color, right? You see this color now, almost a fluorescent, but soft neon, weird, like impossible color that your eye has never seen before. And so this guy, the window dresser, completely fell in love with these roses. And he said, I have got to have them exclusively for the department store. And I feel like it was Neiman Marcus. And he said, I want them in the windows. I want them on the floors. I want them on all the displays. I want them on the mannequins, the models. I want the different departments to this, for the next season, for this to be the big color. I want to see this color on the models and the clothing. I want to see it everywhere. And they signed a deal to make this rose like the official, let's say Neiman Marcus as a placeholder, but I think it is, rose. And they said, we will give you like hundreds of thousands of these, like, it'll be tons. And this is exactly what they did. They had this season in this store, I feel it was 1957, and they actually closed floor space in the department store, and they put in like a garden, like with earth. Like they took up the floor and lost space that there could be mannequins hanging with clothes. And they put these roses there. And the roses were everywhere. They were in cosmetics. They were in the antique department, which existed in those stores. They were in the rug department. They were in the windows. They were in the little lunch area, with the counter, right? The lunch counter in the restaurant. They were in vases on the tables. They were everywhere. It was a huge, big deal. And the window dresser chose the name of the rose, and he wanted to call it the Fashion Rose because he was bringing it into this fashion setting, the department store. And it was just such an interesting and unusual story about, you wonder how these things began. Well, this is how that began. I mean, just somebody taking a day trip to visit his friend at the rose farm, and then the history of the department store changing, or at least in that year. So I got very excited by that story, and I had to do this drawing. Good morning, Joy. Good to see you. Oh, thanks, Suze. Oh, you, New Moon. You always used to make the God's eyes with your kids. They are so pretty and they are so sweet and they're easy to do. And you could even do them right with pantyhose or wool strips. You absolutely could. And there's popsicle sticks of different sizes now. It's just, as I get older, and I always thought that when we decorate the Christmas tree, we usually have more than one. I think we will this year have more than one, maybe one upstairs and one downstairs. And we used to put them in the kids' rooms, but they don't give a what. I mean, they can't be bothered, and the tree falls over. And it was that for years I wasn't putting the nice Christopher Radko ornaments, all of my glass ornaments, on the tree because of kids and animals. And now that they're older, it's like I could put those ornaments on the tree now, and somehow I just don't feel like it. It's like, should I really unwrap every single one of them? I've got them all wrapped in bubble wrap. I've got hundreds of them. Like I probably got 200 of them. Do I really want to unwrap them and rewrap them? Or do I want to make some yarn ornaments and put those on the tree? They're unbreakable, right? If the cat goes in the tree, which she might. Interesting. Yeah, the Rose story. The Rose book, I'm doing a little advertising here, is filled with those stories. That's why the writing part of it has taken me a long time, is because I'm trying to research as many stories as I can. Now, some roses don't have stories. It's just like, roses that go back to what are called the antique roses that go back to England in the days of Chaucer, for example. One of the roses in the book is called the Chaucer rose. Is it called the Canterbury? There is a Canterbury rose, but I think the one I chose is the one called the Chaucer. Well, these are old roses, right? And these are roses that they were growing, and someone was like, God, is that pretty? Let's give it a name, right? And so those roses came about that way, and many of those were named after people in the royal family. Right? There's a lot of ass kissing happening there, as you can imagine. And there was actually like a rule in the United States that never happened in Europe, that if you were going to name a rose, it had to be something like, I think, 2 words long. Yeah, I think it's just 2 words long, the something something. That's it. Because people were going crazy and making these like hyphenated names to get like all of the members of one family to kiss lots of butts at the same time. Some of the names were like 17 words long, like seriously, of a rose. So the history of the roses is so interesting, but some of them just don't have a history. It's like, here it was in the wild. It was beautiful. We started planting it and growing it, and now this is what it's called. But others, like the fashion rose, have these are modern roses or are brand new roses. There's going to be new roses that come out in 2025 and again in 2026, God willing, and every year, consequently, because people are constantly hybridizing these. And of course, there are some famous houses where, like Austin, right, is one of them, and there's even some in the U.S. where people, that's all they do is work on roses. So this is a 1950s rose, and it happens to have a story because it's a newer one. So show us already, Deana. Show us what you're working on and all the terrible mistakes that you've made. Well, I'm going to show you. It's a busy pattern. And let me hold it back a little bit. It was on my frame, so it's buckled out a little bit. So let me show you at the top. There are 2 fashion models. I might have shown you the drawing I did for this, but I don't think so. I think I've been keeping it a secret. There are 2 fashion models in a display window, and they've got super 1950s costumes on, right? And they get a little bit cut off. And in the back, so the whole top that you're seeing here is, oh God, hold on, I gotta get this off. I'm getting crazy hot. Sorry, crazy hot. The whole top is the window. So, and the roses flying all over the place. And you see, this is about as close as I could come to the color of the rose. It really is neon, but that's about as close as I could come with wool. This is all wool strips. And this is all recycled wool to boot, like all clothing wool. So at the bottom, I'm trying to create an effect where this is the display window of the department store. And I'm experimenting with, what should my colors be? This is the only color that's for sure, the rose, right? And then I've got this crazy, see, it's not reading well, so I'm going to have to change the colors. I've got this crazy purple over here, right? And that's like one of those like super cinched waist dresses. And over here, not reading well at all, is this beautiful purple dress. And it has like a sort of swag ruffle here that tips in fuchsia, right along here, this way. So that's not reading well right now, I think because I was making the background this crazy bright red color. This is also recycled wool that I found. So the purples are not working with the red behind it, which is a bit heartbreaking because I wanted it to be really shocking, because I do not want the mannequins to be flesh colored. I want it to be clear that they're mannequins. So I don't know if they need to be white, or they could be any color, but they shouldn't be a natural color because they're mannequins. So this is my first problem. If you can help me with this problem. My first problem is, what color should I have in the background? I suppose I could have it white. I don't know if that would look really boring. I suppose I could have it white and then have the mannequins be like, I don't know, what color would they be? I mean, they usually made the mannequins in white or black in those days. I don't really want to do black because I think that's weird and would look weird and might put the wrong message across, and also not very defined, right? I'm not sure what to do. Maybe I'm going to check your messages in a second. I was going to make her gloves. See, she's got one glove coming out and holding this rose. This is really bright jade green, just so you know, that goes with the crazy coral color. So I was going to make black on the gloves. You know how they wore the gloves that went right up to your armpit? That's one of those. And I think the other character is she's going to be okay no matter what, because she's got, I've got to come down a little further with her purple. I did move that on the frame, but her dress, her arm kind of disappears behind this one's glove, and then she's got the little pinched waist, and then her thing goes down straight again. And it's going to come down to about this level where the window ends, because, no, at this level, where the dress ends. Where is it? Here, right? So here's the really tricky part. I wasn't outlining the top because I didn't think I was going to have a problem with colors. I have already taken the colors out on this dress 3 times. So it's going to be number 4 now that I've screwed this up. I'm going to change that a 4th time. And I might be changing this for a 2nd time. I've taken the color out of the background twice. So that's how well things are going so far. Now, here's another problem. Thank you. Problem down here. And so the idea is that there is this window, and I really am looking for suggestions here because my brain is definitely not working. So there's a window, and then there's people out on the street looking into the window. Can you see? This is their backs, sort of in 1950s kinds of jackets and suits. And let me bring you in a little bit closer. I first had done all of the outlining of the people looking in a dark, the outline is in pantyhose, in dark purple pantyhose. And then I started hooking the clothes. Wonder if you can see them close up. They're all recycled and they're different colors. This is very, very different color to this brown, which is a very different color to this. But I'm trying to make everything down here out of an actual coat material, including these two, but I'm not getting the right definition. So I took all of the hooking out, all of the outlining that I did in the dark colors, because I wanted it dark on the outside, like they were standing outside at night, but bright in the inside. Like what they were looking at was this beautiful display, and it was all light and bright on the inside. And down below, it's darker outside. So that's like an easy concept, but man, is it hard to do in practice. I'm finding it impossible. So now I pulled out all of the hooking down here, which also took forever. And I started rehooking it still in pantyhose in this coral color. And I'm struggling again. This character I think looks fine because she's got this light plaid. I gave her light sort of tan hair, and her hat is a different color. It's like purple and black. I feel like she's okay. And then we move to this one. She actually has a beautiful hat that's in another plaid, right? It's a larger scale window pane kind of plaid, but more spread out. So the colors aren't repeating very often. Maybe that's a hot mess. I love her coat too. It's rust and purple and black. And I love the way it looks, but I'm not sure that it's reading that well. And I haven't chosen a hair color for her. And then this one over here, this one was a nightmare to hook, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's a dark plaid with like teal, rust, yellow, orange. It's super colorful, but it's looking a lot the same as that. And I'm not sure that I'm getting enough definition. I'm not sure that I'm successfully telling the story of these people standing outside on the sidewalk looking in at the window. And you know what's so frustrating is that the drawing of it, I think, looks great. Like the drawing absolutely looks like exactly what it is. I don't think I have the drawing here. I think I put, oh no, I do have the drawing here. Hold on. Oh no, that's a different one. Let me see. Maybe I do. No, I don't think so. I have my printer downstairs now that I set up my little office, and I put most of my stuff. Yeah, I don't have it there. But anyway, you have to trust me. The drawing is crystal clear, and I just can't understand why I cannot get this to work out. Let me see if anybody has any comments. Oh, Karen, good to see you. It is early morning there in Black Forest, Colorado. Oh, Sandy, you love, love. I love too. I love this piece because normally if I had to pull stuff out this many times as I have in every part of this, it wouldn't be on the frame anymore. We'll just put it that way. It wouldn't be, might not be exist anymore, but it definitely wouldn't be on the frame anymore. So I really love this piece, and I love the story behind it, and I really want to make it work. The purple is reading great from your perspective. Oh, the purple dress was reading okay? Interesting. Okay. I'm just going back to your comments. The ornaments, keeping them wrapped up so safe. Takes so long to wrap them, so long to unwrap them. I see those three women looking to the window. I love those colors. Oh, Heidi, thank you. Maybe a very light gold in the background. Ooh, interesting. I think I have to. Yeah, I want to think about that, Heidi. I think I have to admit to myself that this is not working. To agree that this red is not working. I love the red because I think it's so shocking, and I think it's so 50s to do a crazy color here with the red. But I don't know if it's just. I mean, I could easily take this color out. This is the one big ruffle going down the side of the dress, right? And then there's the skirt under it that matches, right? And again, I've done that multiple times. I could take this ruffle out, but there is a problem here. So I guess my choices are to abort mission with this bright background and do something. You know, gold could work really well. Gold could work really well because of the purples, right? That would be like, that could be really pretty actually. The problem is I hate the color gold personally, but it often doesn't have anything to do with that, right? I could also do, the gold would be the most sensible one without a doubt. I could also do like a light teal or like a pistachio, like a pastel color, like a really pastel color. Because then I could make the mannequins white, right? Which as mannequins were. I might take out the black glove. We'll have to see if it's too dark. But you can see the detail. Like I like the detail of like this. Oh, look at on this bow. I forgot to take out the dark outline around the bow. I didn't realize that. I need to take that out. I'm like, why does this part of the bow look so different? That's the dark outline I originally had, and it made everything indistinguishable. It could be, I think I started to, where did I start? I think I started to, yeah, right here. See right here, this line? I started to sneak in the dark pantyhose that I ripped out at the bottom. I started to sneak it in to outline the dresses on the top, because I wasn't going to outline the dresses in the window because I thought the contrast would be so great that it was unnecessary. I was only going to outline the characters outside, like as if the light from the window was touching them and giving them an outline. You know how that happens when you're standing in front of a window? So to me, it made sense to outline the characters looking in, but I was not going to outline the clothes. And then I started thinking, if I'm going to save the red right here, this line, I might need to outline the clothes. And I already had cut up all that dark pantyhose stuff. So I started to pop that in. And I don't know if that's enough of a save with this bright background. Yes, pastels could also work, also with the roses. That's right. That's right. That's a good point because I had not gotten to a rose yet. You know, I have to say the rose does hold its own with this. I think the rose is going to hold its own in general. But maybe a lighter background does make more sense. You know, the irony of this project is that you if you've been with me a while, you know, like one of my great passions is like mid 20th century, 1940s to 1960s, windows, department store windows. That's one of my great passions in life, and it always has been. And finally, I'm doing like my first design that involves a window. You know, because in my dreams, if I could time travel, I would go back to the 50s and be a window dresser. It wouldn't be fun now because the windows look like garbage. But like back then, I mean, you were using animatronics for the first time, and there was live plants, there was live people sometimes in the window. I mean, so much more exciting. I would go back and do that. And since I can't, I'm finally making a pattern where I'm designing a window and I am screwing it up so badly that I am now on like the 5th rehooking. I mean, it's just kind of ironic, isn't it? Sue says mint green was popular in the 50s. Absolutely. So that might be a good reason to bring it in, like to bring. I'm not necessarily doing 50s colors. Shocking colors were in the 50s, but pastels were too. Shocking colors on clothing. So that's not a bad suggestion, the mint green. It could be really pretty with the coral colored. Now that rose is on her dress, right? Like a corsage. The roses are like a pattern. Like I just have them flying through the air as a pattern. They're not literal. They can land anywhere. Kind of like how I picture the department store looking when there was like, tens of thousands of roses suddenly in it. There's pictures of this too. I wonder, no, I probably can't put one in the book because it'd probably be a copyright thing. Because they wouldn't be out of copyright. I could cross somebody's palm with silver, but I probably don't have the $500 to give to what's the place in California, the museum, the big museum that is so good, but that owns the image, every image to everything ever photographed. Aqua was a popular color in the 1950s, wasn't it? My dad had a boat that color. It absolutely aqua, the mint green, those pastel colors were super popular. You know what I'm thinking? I should have made the dresses those colors. I should have made the dresses those colors. I don't know if I have it in me to take it apart again, particularly now that it's getting later. And Diane says, just wondering if you sculpted the people so that they are out, from the window. Oh, you mean like 3-dimensional sculpting? Yeah. I mean, if that's what you mean, that's a brilliant idea. So and somebody else would do that really well. I don't think I have the expertise, but I'm more afraid I don't have the time. That would do it. That would do it for sure. That would solve all of the problems here, and I could do anything in any color if I could get them to be 3-dimensional. Isn't it funny? Maybe what I should have done first was do the faces, right? You're really supposed to do the faces first because it sets the tone for the whole piece. And these are anonymous faces. You notice I specifically, you're getting details, but you're not getting the whole face. So for even people who can't hook faces, that this should be okay for you. But instead, I went and I did the people outside first. And again, I've changed them several times. I did the people outside first because I thought they would be the hardest part. And I like to get the hardest part over. And I think it was a bad call because, and it won't be the same for every project. So it's not like I'm telling you, make sure you always do the faces first, or make sure you always start from the bottom or do the hardest part first. Or I'm not telling you that at all. It's always going to be different from project to project. That's part of the fun. That's part of the mystery. That's part of the ride of being a rug hooker. So I can never say you should do this first or you should. There are no hard and fast rules, and there can't be because you show me your next project and I might look at it and go, you shouldn't do that first. That makes no sense. You should do this first instead. And it's got to be up to you, right? It's got to be up to, the way that you work has to be your decision. And it has to be mine too. But I feel I've made the wrong decision here several times in a row. And I like the ideas that you just gave me. Perhaps pull up a chart of, 50s colors. I have so many books on colors from different decades. In fact, I have a great book. We looked at it a couple of years ago. It's a book that I think it goes by decades, and it shows you one color palette for each decade. I showed that, I'm sure, at least in passing. I'll have to find that book because that was a lot. That was a lot of fun to look at. It only pulls from one source. For example, if I saw the 1950s with that specific book, now there's more comprehensive charts and stuff, but with that specific book. If it showed me the 1950s, it would show me what the reference was. It might be like a billboard, like a side of the road billboard. And, oh, now I'm cold. And that would be the one source. So whatever colors it had in it would only be from the one billboard, right? And it's an interesting book because you look at the colors from each decade and you think, that does remind me of that, my impression of that decade. But it's only one source that they're pulling from, which is weird, right? Because every decade has lots of colors and lots of variety. I'm gonna look for those books. Not today. Don't worry. I'm gonna go back to bed and I'm gonna take it easy for a while. And I'm gonna see if I can rise Phoenix from the Ashes style. But I love the suggestions. Oh, Mandy. Hey, Mandy. Good to see Mandy. I'm going to get your patterns out soon. I promise. Mandy's working on a couple of things, new things for the rose book too. But Mandy is so fast. She's not like me. She is so fast that she's going to get them done like this, where I'm agonizing about should I pull the red out, right? That Mandy doesn't work like that. Only this one works like that, right? Making so much trouble for myself over here. Mandy says, if it were me, I would go with a light neutral color, mint green, ecru, etc. I like, and that's very 50s too, right? The really like white is 50s. People were not decorating with white until the 50s. They were decorating with super cheerful colors. If you think about the 1920s, the Depression era, forced cheerfulness, right? Pinks, light blue, yellows. And then you hit the 1940s. Everyone's coming home from war. The war is over. More forced cheerfulness, but even more exuberant smiles and flowers, and everything's bright red and cornflower blue, and it's really bright color, not pastels, really bright colors. And then we know what happens in the 60s and 70s, but right in the middle there in the 50s, we kind of reset. And that's the only way that we're able to get from the 30s and 40s with all that color to the 60s and 70s with a completely different color palette is by resetting. It's like having sushi and having to eat the ginger in between, right? And then we get all the whites and the light colors in the 1950s, which is exciting. It would make sense to do like an ecru background with, I'm just thinking as I'm talking, with white mannequins. I just don't know. I would have to outline them. I do like the idea of the mint green though. I really like that idea. I might see what I've got for the mint green, the mint green or the aqua. I'm going to chat. I'm going to see what I've got for both of those because I'm kind of on a theme of using what I've got with this piece. I don't really want to dye. That would be an extra thing. But yeah, thank you for these ideas. This really helps a lot. Leave all the garments in the colors you have already hooked. Just change the background. Okay, I agree. Because I don't want to change the dresses again. I might change that one ruffle because maybe that was too much of a departure. But it was. They showed a lot of. If you think about Chanel and stuff, they show like color blocking in the 50s. So I wanted to show an example of that. But yeah, I'm gonna attempt to leave them for now, and just to go for a way more subdued background. And you know what? That'll create so much more contrast with the people standing outside with their dark clothes on. And there's something that has such a storytelling quality about the people standing outside who are probably not in a sort of financial economic strata to be able to buy the clothes in the window, right? Which is the same today. Something about them standing out there in their kind of old woolens, because these plaids are kind of dumpy, frumpy plaids that I chose. And very ordinary. There's something charming and sweet and melancholy about them standing out, like outside, looking in at this beautiful, colorful scene with all of these, like, crazy flowers and all of these pretty colors on these ball gowns, and they're out there with their kind of same jacket as last year, probably. That piece of storytelling I love, and I really want to be in this too. And I think having a calm background is actually going to make that story more clear. I was going bonkers with color because I finally got the chance to do something with a department store window, and I was going bonkers with color. But you can see how these things begin, and you can see how these things transpire. It's not always good to put your foot down on the gas. Sometimes it is. This is a very busy composition, and I should know better. But even though I should know better and I do know better, I am still of the school, especially when I'm in a good mood and I've got a lot of energy going around a project. I'm of the school. Well, let's try it. Let's try it and see, because I know I can pull it out. So, well, thank you so much for your the 1950s drive-in restaurants colors. So I get why you use. Yeah, I mean, it is a high impact color. It is definitely. I can see that on like a drive-in sign for sure. And I just thought loud, like let's make it loud. And I was thinking if the whole window is bright and the people who are watching are like in dark, that's enough contrast. But I don't think it is enough contrast because coming to you from a person who went to like art college like 6 times in total, there's not enough color value change. Now, I'm not a big one for value and contrast. I'm not. I feel like if you like the colors and the thing is readable, forget about all that academic stuff, right? There's a lot of famous artists who did very well not caring about color values, tonal values, and contrast, right? That's only there for you if it's for you. If it's not for you, you do colors that you like. And just make sure you're using outlining and things that really pop the motif. But I'm not doing that here. I'm like same tonal values and it's super busy and I'm not consistent at all with like my own rules, right? It's just not working. So I'm going to make that change. Probably won't be until after the festival is over because it's bonkers, but I'm going to make that change. And I feel better about that because that was one of the things that's been weighing me down is not being able to see where this project's going. And I'm getting real tired of sitting down with it and pulling huge parts of it out. It's not helping my brain right now at all. So thank you for those suggestions. I knew we would. I think we hit the nail on the head. I should have been hooking the Oscar Wilde penguin. And I was selfish and did this with you instead, but I really appreciate it because you got me there with the color planning for this. So what do I owe you? Thank you. All right, great. Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about that as I lay back down. And I'm going to lay back down for a while because I know I have to rise up later and show up at the church and get up on ladders and put some garlands up. And I will be careful, but it's going to be a hard day. It's going to be a really hard day. So I am going to hand you over to Kirsten, who is also part of Ribbon Candy Hooking, right? All of Kirsten's beautiful patterns are part of Ribbon Candy Hooking. She has her own tab in the Ribbon Candy Hooking shop. I'm giving her an introduction here. You already know her from hosting Zoom get-togethers, hook-ins every Tuesday and Thursday. Never thank her enough for being there. So many of us tune in this way. So many of us are working. So many people catch stuff later in the day. So many people are not for live stuff at all. But for those of you who love to sit and hook and to talk, not just watch, but to talk and interact, Kirsten has been there for you all along. Supporting Ribbon Candy Hooking in that way, showing up and being there for people who want to talk and interact. Please don't let me lose my voice. Please don't let me lose my voice. So I'm going to hand you over to her. The link to her Zoom, and again, 100 people can get on, so we should be fine here. I'm sure other people will find it from the Facebook page and stuff, but you're all good if you want to hop over there. Happy hooking indeed. The link is in the body of this video that you're watching. I did the whole link. It's also in our Facebook group, Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. It's there. I pinned it to the top so it's easier for you to find. Just click on that. Have fun together. I would love to sit up and hook, but I'm afraid I have to lay down and sleep. Isn't that sad? Being so lame. Zoom is open. Have fun, everybody. Happy International Rug Hooking Day. Remember, Kirsten is on. Haley is on 11 till 1. And then you've got our friends in Canada, and then you've got other friends headed out on the middle of the country on the West Coast who are picking up the Olympic torch of rug hooking, carrying it with them all day. Have fun. Enjoy. You're right. I will see you as soon as possible, and I will let you know when that is. It won't be Friday, but it'll be soon. Happy International Rug Hooking Day.